Hi there. What I wanted to talk about was a project I had in mind and take you through the build. The issue I have is organizing my garage. I have rods of varying lengths and materials and sizes and from use in projects over the last few years, and it becomes very difficult to kind of keep those in check. Kind of lean them up against the wall and they fall over and you don't know what you have because they're all over the place. So my idea is to build a caddy that will sit on the floor and allow me to put the rods into the caddy and know exactly what I have at all times and know where everything is and have a place to organize it. Now, of course, I have to accommodate different lengths, as I say, anywhere from 6-8 inches to 6 feet. And so that's what I'm going to try to accomplish with this project. And what I plan to use is this 2x2 rusty square tube piece that I have in my junk pile. And I think I have something in mind that we can do with this. Anyway, let's get started. The first things I'm going to try to do is to clean a little bit of this rust off. And so we're starting with something that's not so messy. Anyway, I'm going to put some ear protection on. We'll use the wire wheel and some gloves, and we'll see if we can clean this thing off a little bit. Not without eye protection. There we go. Now we're ready. Just a little more work with the flap wheel, and of course I added a respirator. Okay, before we cut this up, of course we have to mark it. The total length of this piece is 65 inches. We want 4 pieces of varying lengths that are going to be part of this base. So we'll just pick something. I will make the longest one 28. We'll go up 18 inches from there. So we're going to go to 46 will be the next cut. And then we'll make one that's a foot long. So that's up to 58 inches. And then we'll make the smallest one with whatever's left over. So now we have it marked up, we can cut it up. So let's do that. Okay, this is the abrasive chop saw that we're going to use to cut this up. It's got an abrasive blade which can cut through metal. And so we're just going to make the 3 cuts that we need to get our pieces. Obviously you need eye protection and ear protection. Let's start it off. Little circuit breaker problem there, so I had to reset the circuit, and we'll continue the cut. So here's the basic design. Just the 4 pieces of varying lengths. What I'm going to do is cut a base for this. Now these are 2 inches by 2 inches, so basically all 4 together is a 4 by 4. So I need a base for this. I'll make it obviously larger than 4 by 4, maybe 6 by 6 or an 8 by 8 base. I'll see what I've got in terms of scrap metal in the pile, and we'll go from there. But this is the essential design that I had in my mind. I got to clean up all the cut ends because they're uneven and they've got burrs and dangerous things. So I've got to make it nice and smooth. We'll find a base, we'll cut out a base, and then we'll be ready to weld it up. So, okay, I found this pretty grody piece of steel I don't know where, I think we got this at a junkyard. And so my plan is to take probably an 8x8 piece. I'll look for the flattest part and cut that out. So let's do that. Okay, I measured out 8 inches wide and 8 inches this way. I'm going to make this cut first. As you can see, I got an angle here, an angle iron here, and I've got it lined up along the line that I want to cut. And I've got these 2 magnets holding the straight line in place. So now it's just a matter of taking the plasma cutter and cutting along that line. So let's do it. Okay, so we've cut this piece pretty thick. I don't know, it looks like it's at least 1/4 inch, maybe, I don't think it's 3/8, I don't know. Anyway, it's a very thick piece of steel. We cut through that. You can see the cut, it's pretty good with the plasma cutter. So now it's a matter of cutting here to get an 8x8 piece that we're going to use as a base. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me set up first. Okay, so I've got the final piece set up. Once again, I used an angle iron as a straight edge, and I've got it stuck in place with these 2 magnets. So now I just have to drag the plasma torch right along the edge and make the final cut. So let's go ahead and do that. There we have it. An 8x8 piece. Not much to clean up. Just knock the gloss off here, which is fairly easily done. And we've got our base for our rod holder. I'm hoping this is fairly flat piece. I took it from the flattest part of the piece of scrap, so it doesn't look too bad. It'll probably be good enough for what I need. Here's my Lincoln 256 MIG welder that we'll be welding this up with. So the first thing I'm going to do is tack weld things together before we fully weld it out. So I'm using these magnets to try to keep things aligned properly. So I've got a magnet here across this surface, and I've got a magnet here to keep it at a 90-degree angle. So all I'm going to do is tack these 2 together so that will stay. So one quick tack should do it. Should put me, actually I'm going to put it on the bottom as well. So now these 2 pieces are tacked together. Okay, so now things are tack welded onto the base. I mean, actually tack welded to each other. They're not tack welded onto the base yet. But we've got tacks on, 2 tacks on each side. Nothing's attached to the base actually yet. That's the next thing we're going to weld. So let's do it. Okay, now I'm going to weld it out. At least weld around the base here. Okay, I'm going to call it a wrap. I think I've done enough welding. I could weld up and down these seams, but it's really not necessary, so a series of tacks is probably just fine. I welded it all around the base, but let's look at the final product. So that's all it is, just a series of containers for the rods. So I guess I will put my spare rods in there and start using it. Okay, so here's the final product with the rods in there. So I've got the smallest ones, and we can just keep adding increasing length ones to the different sections of the storage unit, so I can finally organize my garage a little better. Anyway, I'm happy with how it came out. It was just from some really rusty old scrap anyway, so I think it'll work out in the end. The really small stuff I'll put in this box that I had made a while back. I've got a bunch of different size and different types of material for very small pieces of rod or pipe, so I think I'm getting organized. That's all for now.